Good morning, Flagler County, and welcome to Veterans on Point, a WNZF radio show developed in mind for our county's beloved and respected veterans population and anyone else listening via internet or podcast. I'm your host, David Lydon, the Flagler County Veterans Services Officer, and I am not here with my friend and colleague at the office at the moment. Eric is still on vacation, but my guest host today is Jeff Kingdan, the Flagler County Veterans Advisory Council Chairman and the current Veteran of the Year for Flagler County. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, David.
And how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And this is our maiden voyage into being videoed for our radio program and subsequent podcast. So as you'll notice, we do have Talkin' Tom Piekarski in the studio today. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Dave. And good morning, Jeff.
And
morning, Tom.
Of course, these gentlemen are both veterans, as you may be aware. So Jeff is a Marine, and Tom was Navy, and he retired from the Air Force. So
that's correct.
So both longtime veterans and contributors to our community of veterans here in Flagler County, and they'll talk more about that as we get along. So. Of course, Eric and I are your Flagler County Veteran Services officers. We're at 1769 East Moody Boulevard in Bunnell. Phone number 386-313-4014. That's the Government Services Building. We're in room 108. We're there to help you with our veterans and their family members with VA benefits. So if you think we can help you, then give us a call and get an appointment. Our Star Spangled Banner today for the end of the program is going, and we have another version that I found on YouTube, and it's sung by an unknown group of kids, a kids choir. So stick around to the end of the program for that. We like to have a Star Spangled Banner each and every broadcast, try to do something a little different, show you how many different kinds there are out there and how many people love America. And speaking of caring about veterans, if you have a veteran who would like to nominate as a Veteran of the Week, I don't know if anybody's been doing this, but I hope you will. If there's a veteran in your neighborhood, a neighbor, a family member, a friend, colleague, then get a hold of Brent Warrenoff at the Palm Coast Observer. His email is Brent, B-R-E-N-T, at observerlocalnews.com. And so let's get to our League of Loyal Listeners. And so at the top of the list is Billy Jones and his wife, who I don't think they've missed maybe they've missed one episode. They were away on a cruise, but they listen weekly and give me feedback on how we're doing. Sometimes we're hitting the mark and sometimes we're not, but I think percentage-wise we're doing okay. You guys know that, we're reaching folks here in the county that we want to know where, the Veteran Service Office is there. And it seems to be working. We're getting folks come in. In fact, I had a husband and wife in yesterday. We're recording on Wednesdays, and this will air on the radio on Sunday. But yesterday I had a couple in. The spouse, the wife listened to us, and that's Mr. and Mrs. Nafe, and I thank them for coming in, and hopefully we're going to be able to help them there at Veteran Services. It's the first time the veteran is ever. His name is Emil. It's the first time he's ever looked into VA benefits. So we are reaching folks. So, but then we have Master Chief Dan, his wife Kay, as loyal listeners, and of course our Marine pal, Jeff Kingdan, who's in the house today as a guest host. And Talkin' Tom's right here, too. And, he's a long-time listener. He reminded me a few weeks ago, hey, David, I haven't heard my name on there, but I am still listening. And him and Eileen. So I hope Eileen's doing well. Tom?
She's doing much better, thank you.
Excellent.
I hear your name every week, Tom.
And then we got Charlie Hanger. Charlie was out at the Warbirds over Flagler this past week, so I'm out there. And, of course, Jenny listens too. And then we've got Dennis and Sharon and Bill. I heard from Bill this week and last week, and I've heard from Shane recently. And And haven't heard from Norman, but we saw Howard out at Culver's recently. But and then we got William and Holly and Keith, and we've got a bunch of Jims and Jameses and Stephen Emmett and David and Mrs. Martin, and James the mailmaid checks in every week. And we've got Bicycle Frank and Don and Delmer and Michael and Frankie Jr. and Frankie Sr., the father. And we've got the Gallaghers, and we got Bill, and we've got Rudolph and Thomas and Leon and so many more. And I thank you all for listening. And if you're listeners, keep listening, keep sharing the information. Let folks know where we are, because that's what we're really there for at the Government Services Building, is to serve our veterans and help them get those earned benefits. Even if you have ignored the VA for 60 or 70 years, it's still a possibility. So. All right, so if you're a listener, you know that we used to formally do a historic event for each of the days of the broadcast week, but we switched it up a little bit. It's still history, but each week we're gonna talk about one of our presidents, and this is the 5th week we've done it. So this week is the 5th President of the United States, James Monroe. Of course, he was also our 5th Commander-in-Chief. So let me take you on a journey through the life of James Monroe, the 5th President of the United States, a man whose story is woven with fascinating threads of courage, diplomacy, and a touch of the unexpected. Picture this. It's December 1776, and a young James Monroe, barely 18 years old, is trudging through the snow with General George Washington's army. They're about to cross the Delaware River in a daring surprise attack on the Hessian forces in Trenton, New Jersey. Monroe, a Virginia farm boy turned lieutenant, isn't just along for the ride. He's in the thick of it. During the battle, he leads a charge to seize a cannon, but a musket ball tears through his shoulder, lodging near an artery. Bleeding profusely, he carried off the field, yet he survives, a feat that earns him a promotion and permanent scar. That wound, by the way, stayed with him for life. Doctors never removed the bullet, making Monroe a walking testament to the revolutionary grit. Fast forward a few decades, and Monroe is no longer a soldier, but a statesman with a knack for land deals. In 1803, as a diplomat under President Jefferson, he's sent to France to negotiate the purchase of New Orleans. But Napoleon, in a whirlwind of ambition and financial strain, offers something bigger: the entire Louisiana territory, 828,000 square miles, for a cool $15 million. Monroe, with his colleague Robert Livingston, jumps at the chance, doubling the size of the United States in one audacious stroke. Here's a quirky twist. Monroe wasn't even supposed to be the lead negotiator. He was sent to assist Livingston, but his charm and timing sealed the deal. The Louisiana Purchase remains one of the greatest real estate coups in history, and Monroe's fingerprints are all over it. I wonder if Donald Trump is getting any tips from James Monroe when he's trying to get Greenland. Now, let's step into his presidency, which begins in 1817. It's dubbed the era of good feelings, a rare moment when the partisan bickering... See, there was partisan bickering back then too, folks. So that's what history is all about, to know that we're today in current times where you see partisan bickering. It's not new. But the partisan bickering takes a breather after the War of 1812. Monroe, a tall, unpretentious man with gray blue eyes and a taste for the old-fashioned breeches, even when they were out of style, tours the country like a rock star, well, as much as a 19th century politician could. He's the first president since Washington to do a national goodwill tour, shaking hands in muddy boots from New England to the frontier. But here's a unique tidbit. Monroe was so broke after leaving office in 1825 that he had to sell his Highland estate in Virginia and beg Congress for reimbursement. He covered the expenses that he accumulated decades earlier as a diplomat. The government owed him over $60,000, about $1.5 million today, and he spent his final years fighting for it. Oh, see, veterans, when you complain about the VA, you have to fight the VA for your benefits. Even the president had to fight the government for his back pay. So, and let's not forget Monroe Doctrine, his foreign policy brainchild from 1823. It's December, and Monroe's annual message to Congress drops a bombshell. The Western Hemisphere is off limits to further European colonization. This wasn't just bravado. Monroe, with Secretary of State John Quincy Adams, was staring down Russia's creeping claims in the Pacific Northwest and Spain, fading grip on Latin America. See, there's Russia in the mix again, too. So some things never change. The doctrine is a slow burn, though it doesn't flex its muscles until later presidents wield it. Fun fact, Monroe's words were partially inspired by his teenage brush with British tyranny. He never forgot the sting of a colonial rule. Here's a final oddity to chew on. Monroe's death has a poetic ring. He passes away on the 4th of July in 1831, exactly 5 years after Jefferson and Adams died on the same date. Wow. It's the third time a founding father president exits on Independence Day, leaving historians to wonder if the universe has a flair for drama. Monroe's buried in New York's Marble Cemetery, but in 1858, Virginia hauls his remains back to Richmond, claiming their native son with a grand reburial. So there's James Monroe, not just a name in the textbook, but a man who charged cannons, haggled with emperors, and left America bigger, bolder, and a little more independent. What do you think about that, guys?
Fantastic.
That's great.
Unbelievable.
Great.
Isn't it fun to learn about history?
It is.
So that's what, as I used to say, is that veterans are, and here's a veteran here, James Monroe, but veterans make history and they preserve history. So that's why we do our history here. Here's a quote of the week. Our country may be likened to a new house. We lack many things, but we possess the most precious of all, liberty. And that's by James Monroe. So, which leads us now into drivers. The DAV is seeking volunteer drivers to take veterans from their homes to their VA appointments. And so to become a volunteer, seek out how to become a volunteer, call the DAV Chapter 86 at 386-439-2122. You do not have to use your own vehicle. The DAV has VA vehicles for that purpose. You do need to be insurable, and you do need to have a physical by the VA. All right, so that leads us to what you guys are doing here. My guest host, Jeff, I know you got some stuff you want to share.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here.
Yes, sir.
David. I have several projects that I'm involved in with my wooden plaques, and one is making plaques for veterans, World War II veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of this month, I will have recognized 17 World War II veterans.
Here in Flagler and elsewhere too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And next month, I have one already on the list that I'm working a plaque for. And it's a lot of fun recognizing World War II veterans because I sort of feel like I'm talking to my dad.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know your dad was a veteran too, right?
World War II Army in New Guinea.
Yep. So you have a certain affinity for that.
My dad was a World War II veteran too, Jeff, and he was Navy in the Pacific.
So when I make a plaque for a World War II veteran, what I need is proper spelling of the name, the military branch they're in, and perhaps their MOS. So, Dave, I was wondering if somebody's
listening. MOS is a military occupational specialty.
What
in case or job, your job in the military, in case listeners didn't know that.
Yep. And Dave, could I ask if somebody's listening and has a World War II veteran to get in touch with you?
They can give me a call at Veteran Service 386-313-4014, and I'll let Jeff know how to get a hold of you.
Thank you. And this last weekend was Warbirds over Flagler at the Flagler Airport. And it's funny because there was one World War II veteran in a wheelchair, and I went over to shake his hand because I recognized him. And his wife or daughter, I'm not sure which one, said, "Oh, you're the one who made his plaque." And he smiled from ear to ear.
Uh-huh.
The World War II veterans really appreciate being recognized.
They do, but you've garnered thousands of smiles, Jeff, because people like to be thought of and recognized, and so you've done that so many times.
And one other thing is, Charlie Hanger had a booth there, and
with Brave Aid.
Brave Aid, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and he had hats that he was selling for contributions. And there was this one gentleman in a wheelchair that was looking at World War II hats. So I said to him, "Are you a World War II veteran?" And he said, "Yes." So I said, "Well, pick a hat and I'll buy it." So like I said, every time I do this, it's like I'm doing something for my dad.
And it makes you feel good too.
It does.
Right?
Very good.
And like we've always talked, Jeff, this is, everybody's got to find a purpose. You just can't, retire and do nothing. That's not healthy.
Absolutely.
And your purpose is you found your purpose, and you're making people's day every time that you meet them and you provide a plaque to them. And I don't know if our viewers can see. Here's one of Jeff's plaques too. Here it is, right here. Right here's the camera. So I got it. So Jeff's everywhere. He's got plaques everywhere.
Oh my goodness!
Even here in the
you
radio
can't go
studio.
anywhere and not see one of his plaques. And we do visits to the assisted living and nursing homes, and we've done one a month in the last 6 months. And Jeff accompanies us, and he brings the plaques, and you get smiles from all the veterans that receive them. Definitely.
Actually, Tom, that was the next thing I wanted to
Oh, I'm sorry.
I go with Tom and the VFW Riders to different senior living facilities.
It's sponsored by the Riders from the VFW.
Yeah, the VFW Riders is their motorcycle group.
Yep. And what we try to do is we try to get all the residents outside at the drive-through area, and when when the motorcycles come, they just smile from ear to ear. They really enjoy being recognized by the VFW Riders.
Some Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
And the way these usually go is Mark Schreiber. He's a retired Navy captain. Usually says an opening prayer.
He's our chaplain. That's correct. And he's the chaplain for the DAV.
Yeah, exactly. And Tom usually hands out a quilt of valor to a veteran that should be recognized for what they've done.
And that veteran is recognized by the facility. We don't pick the veteran. They do.
Yeah.
We let them do that.
That's why I asked Jeff not that long ago how you decided which veteran would receive
No,
it.
we let them decide.
Okay.
And we hand out these wooden plaques to the veterans that say, "Thank you for serving our country," and they seem to appreciate it. And we also recognize the staff that support the veterans, and their plaques say, "Thank you for honoring our veterans." So those visits go over quite well, and they're usually very well attended. And one last thing is the DAV, if I can say this, meets every third Tuesday of the month. Every second Tuesday of the month at 10:30, and they're on Florida Park Drive.
And that's their general membership meeting, correct?
That's correct, Dave. Yeah.
We almost mentioned the other service organizations, like the VFW's general membership meeting is what, the
Third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday at 6:30 is for the combined.
They do the combined meeting, and then the regular meeting follows that directly.
Right. And so the American Legion's meetings are the second Monday at 6 p.m. and their current meeting location is the Southern Rec Center in Palm Coast. And the Marine Corps League, when are they on the third
Tuesday?
Third Tuesday
At 5:15 with pizza.
at the AMVETS location now,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay, what's their address? You got that offhand?
I don't have it.
It's right off of US 1.
It's in Bunnell.
It's on Steel Rail Road.
That's right.
off of
That's
US
right.
1.
Steel Railroad. Okay.
Right.
So the DAV, like I said, meets the second Tuesday of every month. And this coming month in April, we're having a special guest speaker. It's Cindy Van Bibber, and she's the director of the Cape Canaveral National Cemetery. And she's going to talk about benefits for veterans that are available in cemeteries.
And
It's an important meeting to attend.
Jeff, you helped provide her contact information for me recently, and I reached out to Miss Van Bibber, and she was very helpful with a matter I was working on for a surviving spouse. So thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, I recognize the cemetery with a plaque with all 6 of the military branches on it.
Mm-hmm.
And also when I presented that, we also presented plaques to all the veterans that worked there and the non-veterans. So you're right, she's a very professional woman.
Mm-hmm. And so anything else on your agenda over there?
Well, real quick.
Okay, yeah.
I visit with veterans in some of the senior living facilities, and we talk about like experiences. And recently, I've been trying to get them interested in some of the benefits, and I think 1 or 2 of them have gotten a hold of you, David, from San Cyr.
Yep.
And one of the things we've also talked about is the honor flights. They're becoming more and more interested in things like the honor flights. So I've printed out the information on the honor flights, and we handed them out last week. And we'll see. Hopefully they'll want to go on the honor flights.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
That's a very interesting trip that
Yeah.
they provide for the veteran.
And the way they choose who goes is it's like a seniority thing. World War II veterans are the most senior.
Followed by the Korean.
Korean.
When are you guys going to sign up?
I don't know.
Paco went last year,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
Also.
Well,
yeah.
actually, they're taking any veterans
Really? No, I
if
didn't know that.
if there's an opening, but
Uh-huh.
they have that seniority that they go through first, and it's usually like a 1.5 or 2 year wait. But for instance, a friend of mine in the Marine Corps League just decided not to go in a couple months, so that opens up a position. So you never know how long it's going to be to go on one of these
you
honor
could be
flights.
a quick backfill, right?
Yeah, and they're quite the flight. Apparently, they leave either Orlando or Jacksonville at 4:30 in the morning, and return at 8:30 at night or something
So
like that.
Odark-
It's a one
Odark
day
30.
1 day trip.
Yes.
Right? It's a
Yeah.
1 day trip.
That's Odark 30.
Yeah.
Both ends.
Going and visiting Washington and the monuments and the Capitol and the White House has been on my bucket list for a long time, and I finally I'm going this March. Well, not March, but this May. I have a trip planned that my son-in-law and my grandson planned for me
Good.
and set up. So I'm going for a week to see Washington, D.C. I missed it in my high school year. I missed it when I planned it once before for a deployment I had to go on.
And you keep driving past it every time you
The
go
la-
from Florida to Long Island.
Absolutely. And the last time that I missed it, it was the pandemic hit. I had everything all set up.
You were supposed to go to and get a tour of the White House, tour of the Capitol.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I got everything all set up through the congressman's office and
Yeah,
everything.
That dang COVID.
Yeah.
So, Tom, you got some stuff you wanted to talk
Yes,
about,
I do.
too.
First and foremost, I want to make sure that all the veterans know that the VFW is here for them and provides a lot of information and stuff that they can use for themselves and their families. We meet on the third Wednesday, as they said before, of the month, and this next meeting is going to be the election for people who are running for the positions, and that's a very important meeting to go to. Actually, this month's one, when they were picking the people, and people were saying that they're going to run for the positions, and the candidates were all set up, that was an important one too. But most importantly, if you are a VFW member, please come out and help decide who is going to be running the VFW, because it's important. It's a big organization and needs a lot of help, and is there to provide stuff for all the veterans. And that's what I want to make sure that the veterans understand. Secondly, as Jeff mentioned already, the Riders, which is a young group and just celebrated their, I think, 3rd anniversary or 4th anniversary as a organization that is affiliated with the VFW.
Under your post, under
And under the
8696.
VFW
right.
post, right, the VFW Riders. I know the American Legion has the Riders group for a longer period of time.
Just barely.
yeah.
I think
And
2019 is when they started.
And they've taken it on themselves to go ahead and visit all these different nursing homes. And I can tell you that we started back in August of last year, 2024. And some of the ones that we visited the Grand Oaks, the Grand Villa, the Windsor, the Sanseri, Las Palomas, Harbor Chase was the last one we saw this month. And we're taking a break because they have a lot going on in April. But in May, we're going to be visiting, and I'm going to tell you that the name of that one is the Tuscan Gardens. And
Tom, if you dressed up as the Easter Bunny, they'd let you in April.
yeah, I don't know if I could pass as an Easter Bunny with a beard, but
He's the Santa Claus.
yeah, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. The assisted living facilities welcome us with open arms. They love to have the veterans groups come in to visit with the veterans. And, of course, we get just as many of the people who are living there that are not veterans attending, because they love to see what we have to bring them.
It's entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment, right? We bring guitar players. Mark, the chaplain, he plays piano. And
Yeah.
the last time he was
Yeah.
playing Baby Grand there.
Plus,
So,
Tom, if I can, they also are showing respect for the veterans.
yes, it's showing respect, and they are eager to talk to people, and
Yes.
and we are eager to find out what they did in the military and how they provided this country the freedom that we have. So, one last thing, I know we're running short. The Riders having the fourth annual Ride for the Falling 13 poker run, and that's on April 19th. Please come out and participate. You can actually go on the ride with your motorcycle if you want to. You don't have to be a member of the Riders. We just have to go down and register, and it runs from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the VFW, and a lot of stuff going on with that.
All right, so check into your local VFW post 8696. You know where it is. It's at 47 Old Kings Road, Old
Kings Road
North in Palm Coast. It's a central location for veterans activities. So, and you probably know where it is. So get over there and check it out. We're well towards the end of our program. So it's when I got to let you know that no country, no state, and no community does more for veterans than the United States of America, the great and free state of Florida, the wonderful Flagler County, the lovely city of Palm Coast, and all of our beautiful beach cities. Be a victor, not a victim. Be educated, not indoctrinated. And most importantly, be kind to someone today or many someones. And we thank you for being with us, our first episode on video. And thank you to Jeff and Tom for being here to help with that. And you guys are, of course, welcome back anytime to share what information is going on with the Marine Corps League or the DAV or the VFW and so on and so forth. So any final comments, real quick?
No, just thank you very much for letting us share our information.
And I thank you also, Dave, for inviting me to participate. And just want to say that the VFW has a lot of different things. Bingo's every Thursday night. Come on out, support us, and see what we have on the calendar for the month. We have a lot of activities and events that are fun.
Yeah,
Family fun.
Did you listen last week, Tom? So
Yes, I did.
You heard me breaking your chops a little bit?
Yes, I did.
You know I love you, Tom, and I love you, Jeff. So it's all in good fun. Vets like to break each other's chops. So we'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.